Hi everyone and welcome back. We are now finishing up and wrapping up our lesson number 10 on Everyone Communicates, Few Connect. Wow, can you believe it's been 10 lessons? I just want to say that I am so thankful and grateful for all of you and the journey that we've gone through over the last few weeks together. What a fitting way to end the lesson here and the curriculum here with this lesson. Connectors live what they communicate. And that is so true, isn't it? It's hard to have a relationship and communicate and connect with somebody when you're talking and talking, but usually your life just isn't backing up what they're saying. I mean, you're transparent. People will see right through you. So in your notes here, you want to underline this. Okay, so here we go. This is really important. This is the foundation for this entire lesson. Credibility is the currency for leaders and communicators. That's what you want to underline. I'm going to read that again. Credibility is the currency for leaders and communicators. With it, they are solvent, and without it, they are simply bankrupt. Okay, so what we're going to do is, and I'll explain this in a quick minute, just get ready to fill in the blanks here. The first 6 months of any relationship, you build a relationship with someone that you don't know. Within the first 6 months of that relationship, communication overrides credibility. I'll explain that in a second. Communication overrides credibility. And after 6 months, usually the relationship is a little more established. Credibility overrides communication. Once again, credibility overrides communication. Okay, so what I'm saying is this. If people don't know you that well, you're just building that relationship, that there is a tendency for them to simply just accept your words at heart. Whatever you say, your words that you're speaking, there's just a tendency for them just to accept it. They just don't know you that well, so they're going to listen to your words and they're going to accept them at heart. After all, they don't really know you that well, but most likely they would still at least partially buy into what you have to say. And that's usually within the first 6 months or so. So just remember that. That's a good statistic to remember. Now here's the thing. After about 6 months in, there is an emotional shift with the people that you are trying to connect with the person between you and them or with the group. There's an emotional shift, usually around the 6-month mark. And it goes like this. They go from the words that you say to the life that you live. It's a great note to take. Usually about the 6th month and later, they now shift emotionally from the words that you say to the life that you're now living. It's now not what you say, it's become what it is that you do. And that's what we mean by how credibility overrides communication. Credibility at the 6th month mark now becomes more important than what you're literally trying to say. All the words they hear you say either have a wonderful positive weight to them because of the life that you're living and how you're living out what you're saying, or they have lessened in their weight because your life and your words just simply don't match. They either, because if your life matches and it's doing really well, then now your words become, and they weigh more to that person because there's credibility. But when they start learning about you, getting to know you, and connecting with you, and developing a relationship with you, if your life isn't matching your words, now what you have to say means a whole lot less. It's an interesting emotional shift here, isn't it? So the bottom line is this, that the deeper in any relationship that you go, whether it's with family, friends, the person in front of you, or the group in front of you, the deeper any relationship that you go, the words become overvalued and your life becomes undervalued. And that is why John, in the very beginning, we had you underline that credibility, he says, is the currency. It's what we deal in when we're communicating, we're connecting, and we're becoming leaders. That is the currency. So don't bankrupt yourself. We need to get some credibility. So we've developed a credibility checklist here. Number 1 in your notes. This is a checklist for you to kind of go through to say, am I credible? Number 1, have I connected with myself? I can stop here and just not go on to the next 7 or 8, whatever there is. This is so important. You can't connect with other people if you can't connect with yourself first. The relationships that we have with other people are largely determined by the relationships that we have with ourselves. It's as simple as that. I'm not a difficult person. I'm a simple person, remember? I can't have a great relationship with someone until I can have a great relationship with myself. It is just impossible for a person who doesn't accept themselves to accept others. It's hard for another person to connect with other people and understand other people, walk in their shoes if they just can't understand themselves and accept and connect with themselves. We see the people not as, I'll put this in my notes here, we see people not as they are, but as we are. I have to be right in seeing myself, so I'm right in seeing you. That was a little note to myself. I think about that a lot. I have that in my notes here because I think about that. I see people as not as they are, but as I am. It's simple. I have to be right in myself so I can see people and be right in their eyes. Have I connected with myself? If you haven't connected with yourself, if you haven't accepted yourself, if you haven't understood yourself, if you haven't spent time with yourself and really tried to connect with your spirit, the spirit that God gave you, that you've been blessed with, you can't go further and connect with other people. Number 2, let's move on in the credibility checklist. Have I made right my wrongs? This is a big one. I like how John puts these right at the very top because these two are just the biggest. Have I made right my wrongs? We've all messed up in life, haven't we? We've all done things that we've made mistakes in that we're not proud of, that we've just flat out just fell flat on our face, haven't we? The question is this: have we gone through the effort to fix the issue? Have we made the issue right? See, the disconnect here is not that we're all human, that we mess up. That's not the disconnect. So we don't disconnect with people when we mess up. We actually disconnect when we're unwilling to admit that we're human. We're all human. We all make mistakes. So when we make that mistake, we don't disconnect with people. It's okay. Don't worry. People aren't laughing. They're not struggling. The laughing, the struggling, the frustration, the hurt, the disappointment comes when we're unwilling to admit it and we're unwilling to fix it. People don't want to follow a perfect man. They want to follow a good man. Just remember that. Don't worry about perfection. Just worry about rectifying it and doing the right thing. You do that, you're going to become more credible. You're going to start connecting. Number 3, in your notes, am I accountable? When you make a commitment, you create hope. When you keep a commitment, you create trust. Now, hope is a really great thing. We talked about giving hope. I think it was in lesson number 8. Giving hope, inspiring people. That's really important in your communicating and your connecting. But you know what's more important is trust. When you keep a commitment, you create trust. So are you accountable? Do you keep the commitment that you made? Number 4, moving on. Do I lead like I live? Do I lead like I live? This goes back to maybe I think it was last lesson. How is my life playing out right now? Jim Rohn, just a phenomenal author, phenomenal speaker, just such a great guy, passed away, but he said, you cannot speak that which you do not know. You cannot share that which you do not feel. You cannot translate that which you do not have. And you cannot give that which you do not possess. To give it and to share it, and for it to be effective, you first need to have it. Do you have it, is the question. Is it in your life? Do you possess it? Because you can't give something you don't have. You can't try to inspire something to somebody that you yourself aren't inspired about, and you yourself don't have and don't possess and don't live. Do you lead like you live? Credibility checklist question number 4. Number 5 in your notes, do I tell the truth? We don't need to spend a lot of time on that. That's simple, right? Do you tell the truth? If you're a liar, you're probably not going to connect, especially if you're found out. So don't lie to people. Just tell them the truth. Even if it hurts, it's better to not cover it up, right? What do they always say? That you tell a lie, then you got to tell more lies and multiple lies to keep up with covering the other lies that you made, and so on and so on. Just tell the truth. Have credibility. Number 6, am I vulnerable? That's a great one. The author of the book, The Courage to Teach, says, this is Parker Palmer, says that we all know that perfection is a mask. So we don't trust the people behind know-it-all masks. They're not being honest with us. The people with whom we have the deepest connection with are those who acknowledge their weaknesses. You don't want to put a mask on. Don't try to hide things. Be vulnerable. You'll be connecting in no time. Number 7, am I following the golden rule? Am I following the golden rule? You want to be credible? Just do unto others as you would like to have done to yourself. That's the golden rule. Hopefully you know it. You should memorize it. If we could all in this world just live by the golden rule, how much more would we connect with other people? We all want to be treated and be respected a certain way, looked at a certain way, but when we communicate and we connect with other people, for some reason we don't treat them that way. So credibility checklist, number 7. Check it off if it's you. If it's not you, you may want to work on it. Are you following the golden rule? And number 8, do I deliver results? We all want to know that. Do I deliver results? Peter Drucker, the father of the modern management, said that communication always makes demands. It always demands that the recipient become somebody, do something, believe something. It always appeals to motivation. In other words, communicators exhort people to deliver results. But to be credible as a communicator, you must also deliver results for yourself. Delivering results is really important because you can talk, you can share, but the bottom line is if you don't have results to show for yourself, and if you can't deliver a result for someone else that you say you can, your credibility goes from here to here. So, credibility checklist question number 8, do you deliver results? That's an important one. So I would say this. What area in the credibility checklist do you need to work on? Go through the 8 things. I already know when I go through these, I need to camp out on number 1. That's important because I always need to reflect back on myself. That's for me. I have story after story that I won't take up your time with, but story after story about how I need to learn to connect with myself. And when I do, when I can understand myself better, how all of a sudden worlds around me just open up simply because I figured something out inside. But for you, it could be completely different. So go through the 8 questions here and find out what do you need to work on. The only way to keep communicating with people is to live what you communicate. And what a fitting way to end the time and the lessons together is with that statement and that concept in your notes. The only way to keep connecting with people more effectively and efficiently is to live what you communicate. So as we wrap up lesson number 10, I know there's a few other things in your notes, and there's going to be one last video that's sent that's going to wrap up our entire time together, our entire group session together. So you'll want to hang on to that part. We'll get to it. I promise. Don't worry. But before we do, I want you to just take time to reflect back on 10 lessons and say, if I need to connect, if I need to increase my leadership, what part of these 10 lessons do I need to live more effectively so that I can connect with other people? What a great way to end. Connectors live what they communicate. Thanks so much again for spending time with us in this group. And there is one more video, and we'll see you on that follow-up ending video together. Thank you so much.